Good morning. I'm going to the gym a bit later today. It's Friday. Yesterday was a fun day. In the morning, I did my exercise. Afterward, there was a project, a shoot at Dubai Festival City. And since there's a place there called Bounce X, we stayed a little longer, an hour, and had some fun. I can feel it though. I'm not the youngest anymore. Some kids there, some of the trainers challenged me to like a jumping competition, and like I did my best, but now I notice, my knee is all shifted out of place, and when I took off my shoe, the whole like the skin had fallen off, and it's a mess. I should have learned by now. I'm trying to make it on time for the CrossFit class. I'm gonna just do a part of it and see how it goes, because they sent like a grueling 3-part exercise series again. So maybe I'll do one, so I can still do a bit of work today. I'm still I have a lot on my to-do list, a lot, especially administrative stuff. Trying to get my banking sorted out. It can be a pain in the butt, pain in the ass for sure. I can't wait for the world to be like more digital, more, how do you say, peer-to-peer, more independent of, having to explain your every action to whoever is in charge of know your client and AML. Because, they ask for things and they don't even realize how much of a burden it can be on the person. They ask like, okay, give me a full portfolio of your brokerage account and your crypto exchange, but they don't even mention like what should be on there. Like, should it be transactions in and out? Should it be portfolio itself, like current holdings? Should it be trades? They don't specify, and then you have to go back and forth trying to find out what they want in the first place. A lot of brokerages or exchanges might not even have the type of output in a PDF format that they want. Additionally, there's been some issues where I have like, I changed my phone, and some of my accounts, it's difficult to even get in right now because they were linked to the old phone, and once I switched my phone, like the security messages arrived to the old one. So I got those like they're basically canceled. Like I don't want to have those sent in the first place. Like I know the guy who ended up with the old number, but it's not good security practice to do it that way. So yeah, I was already busy, and then stuff like that just adds on to the stress when you're trying to get stuff done, and you have these like useless requests for information that okay, I understand the need to stop terrorism financing and all of those, but it should be obvious, and especially when you've been a client for like, what is it, maybe 7-8 years with the bank, and then you do like one large transaction that's easily explained, which comes from a family member. Like there shouldn't even be any supporting documentation, and then you have to go through this whole procedure on a deadline, which at first they give me like 1 business day, and then I thought I resolved everything, and it comes back and they give you 2 business days to send even more documentation, some of which is information that I wasn't even supposed to have, like a contract that I'm not even involved in, they're asking for. So yeah, I really hope soon there'll just be, everyone will be using a single digital system where you don't need third parties to authorize your every transaction or invade your privacy, take up your time needlessly. It's a waste. It's a terrible waste. Here is the CrossFit exercise I'll be doing today, as I keep ranting about banks and that. So yeah, here we're just setting up. I'm taking a lighter weight because my bicep tendon is dangerously close to, like, it might be dangerously close to an injury. So yeah, to continue my rant about banks, I am actually curious if anyone's watching this video. What bank do you use? What country do you live in? And have you experienced issues like this where you try to do normal transactions and the bank either freezes your funds or even closes your account? It would be interesting to know which countries and which banks this most affects. If you haven't had any issues personally, maybe you know somebody who's had issues with the bank or any money transfer service, really. I'm also curious if any among you have used cryptocurrency to address such issues. In general, cryptocurrency has a lot of potential to solve these issues, but there is some level of complexity currently still in this system. One of them is due to the fact that the transaction fees can be relatively high when you're transacting smaller amounts. For bigger amounts, it's usually not a problem, you know. Bitcoin nowadays, a transaction can cost anywhere from about $1 to $30 if the network gets congested. So for smaller amounts, you know, say that you want to send a couple $100, $30 is a big amount to pay, especially compared to when you do euro transfers, they're just free within the EU, for instance. So there it can't really compete, although there are other chains, but then the issue becomes the complexity, you know, if you want to receive Ethereum, for instance, on a network different than Ethereum, say Polygon, like a level 2, you have to go back and forth asking, okay, what is the deposit address? Which, you know, network is it on? It becomes highly complex for non-technical people. So anyway, back to the normal video. I just finished my CrossFit training. It was a pretty good routine, pretty simple. I like them when they're straightforward. It was 12 wall walks followed by 12 power, what was it, cleans? And then you up the weight every time while you lower the reps. It was tiring, but it was good, except for the fact that my bicep tendon, the distal bicep tendon, is still hurting quite a lot. Like yesterday, I did some recovery work with like cryogenic treatment. I took a cold plunge and then sort of like a sauna, alternating between them. But yeah, it's really painful, so I'm gonna try some revalidation exercises and hopefully it'll get better, because I don't have the same situation in my other arm. I had surgery some time ago because the tendon just snapped as I was doing on the rings. I was doing like a planche. And I was like, it happened at Burning Man like the second day. So that wasn't fun. I didn't realize at the time that it had torn, because it doesn't actually hurt much when it happens. It was very sudden. It actually did like a cooling down, and I asked one of the people there, like the medics, you know, like to check it out, because it wasn't really painful, but it was like a little bit bruised. So I thought, okay, and it made like a weird sound. And they said, yeah, you know, can you move it? I'm like, yes. They asked if it hurts. I said, like, only when I ride a bike a little bit, so it's fine. And they're like, oh, it's probably fine. But then when I went to Mexico, and I thought, okay, it seems to be moving up my bicep. I was like, okay, let me get it checked properly after all. And the guy was like, where is your, he's like doing the hook tests to see where your tendon attaches. And he's like, yeah, nothing there. So he said I needed urgent surgery, because if they don't fix that kind of issue within, I think you have about a week and a half or 2 weeks or so. If they don't fix it within that time, then you have to get a tendon from somewhere else, because it shortens too much for them to be able to stretch it far enough to go back into the bone. They have to, I have some pictures and a video actually of the surgery. It's pretty gruesome the way they have to drill a hole in the bone, attach some kind of anchor to the tendon, and then they, you know, basically just stick it back in there. So I would like to avoid that, because I was in like a brace for several months, and my arm shrunk to like half the size of the other one. So you can imagine what kind of jokes I would be getting all the time. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna try to be careful. Good morning. Today is Thursday. I missed a few days of doing this journal, these videos, because I had insomnia one night, and then the next day I was like a zombie all day, pretty much. The next day I just had a lot, I had to focus quite a bit. I had a lot. I felt had a lot on my plate, and yeah, I'm still struggling sometimes with energy levels overall. I'm starting to wonder if it is related to perhaps gluten after all. Some years ago I was told to avoid gluten, and I did like a pretty strict diet, but I didn't exclude oats. I'm still having oats now, and I'm not sure, but I wonder if it's related. So I'm thinking about doing oats free for about a week and see what happens. Regarding cryptocurrency, it's exploding again. Cardano is up 17% today. There had been a big, how do you say, correction the other day, and I had bought in a little bit, but I also sold the Bitcoin that I managed to scoop up at like 40,000. I eventually didn't sell, or didn't reach my point where I would have made a $4,000 profit, and I got a bit jittery. I don't like holding things on margin, especially when it's how do you say, when there's a potential of a drop, because then, and the funding rates are quite high, so it's yeah, it would have been risky to keep it. So at 2000 I just bailed out, unfortunately, because I think it would have hit my initial targets overnight, this night. But yeah, you win some, you lose some. Well, it's still a win, that one. I've lost severely in the past, but yeah, this is still a decent win. And yeah, I'm always, since I'm DCAing in how do you DCAing in still, it's that should be the major source of revenues anyway, or how do you say, that assures that I'll have a decent pile as I enter into the bull market. It makes me less worried when there are some dips. It is fun, of course. There's an adrenaline rush when you make a successful trade. I only do that generally during the bull markets to make sure that I have more potential upside than downside, because I don't really do shorts most of the time unless I'm really confident. For me personally, it's just with the potential upside of crypto, it's just too dangerous. If something shoots up, you get stuck in that position, and it's normal stocks now. Also, if you look at GameStop or similar situations with AMG, I believe, the cinema. I wouldn't want to be in that position that those hedge funds were in.